happy Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Happy June. The first day of June. Ugh. We're not even in the hot part of the summer yet, and I'm already suffering. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Midnight Express, a very, 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 very abbreviated version of any show we do. It's roughly about a half hour to 45 minutes, depending on your guys' topics and where your questions lead us. I'm William. I am broadcasting on both Poindexter Lounge, where the majority of you have seen me and met me and know of. So please hit like and subscribe to this broadcast. And you can also see me at youtube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center, or just Google the Sci-Fi Center on all my social media. You can like and subscribe to all the social media, especially if you're a local here in Las Vegas. We got a bunch of cool stuff going on. I just sent over 200 of you to see the Flash. Some of you got out a couple hours ago from the another screening that we sent people to tonight. Have 2 more screenings to go. At the end of the day, we're gonna send about a total of about 500 some odd people in general to go see the Flash before it gets released. We also have a screening for Transformers. We'll be giving away passes for that this Friday for a Monday screening of Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I will be missing that one. I'll wait and see that one. And we're also doing a fan screening for our local customers. A couple of our local customers will be going this Friday night to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And I will be doing a live out of the theater review on that one. So for those of you who have not had a chance to see the review that I did for the Flash, those of you who missed it, I'll go ahead and put it in the chat right here. I will put it in the chat, and then we'll say hi to the chat. There you go. That is the review of the Flash. We saw the Flash on the 18th or 22nd. I think it was the 22nd. So we did a review right as I got back from seeing it. We'll do the same thing. I'll probably do. The Flash was so chaotic that we had to get out of the theater area before I did my out of theater. But I think I'm going to do my out of theater for Spider-Man right as we step out of the auditorium. So, all right, who's here? All right, Jay, Slipknot fan, long time to see. Glad for being first. How you doing, Anthony? What's going on, Vince? How you doing, Forrest? No, I didn't. And it sucks too. I gave away T-shirts and action figures and posters and tickets to see it, but my schedule was such that I could not go. But I will be seeing it on streaming now. No, that's not my territory. My territory is the Vegas area. There's someone else that does the Southern California and the LA areas and the Arizona areas. They're all under the same umbrella, but each region has a different person. So yeah, sorry, I would have definitely hooked you up if we had one in the Inland Empire. And some of those guys that went to the LA screening and got turned away. If I would have had some sway over with those guys, you would not have gotten turned away. I mean, none of our people got turned away because they're on a different list. But if you go for that general admission stuff, listen, guys, I know if you think you could sit there all day and be right at the beginning of the line, but a lot of people work and all that. The general admission is a nightmare. They overbook on purpose, and a lot of people get turned away. I wouldn't drive 10 minutes from my house for general admission, simply because there's a good chance, especially with a high-profile movie like this, that you're going to get turned away. But sponsors, partners, advertisers, people who, promote movies, or have partnerships, we have our own list, and we do a good job of making sure that if you're on our list, you're getting in, and you don't have to be sitting there all day. So hopefully if you guys are in Vegas when we're doing one of our promos, swing by the center. I'll hook you up. Not going to lie, the responses I've seen to The Flash amongst the Snyderverse fans have got more excited for it than I've been in a long time. It really feels great being back in the hype train. Dude, Andy Muschietti's great. And he does a great job, not only with Ben Affleck's Batman in this character. Sasha Calle was not born of the direct Snyderverse. She's obviously a descendant of the same universe. And I felt like I was watching something that came from Zack Snyder, but in a different way. I felt the spirit of the characters, but I also felt the direction of Andy Muschietti. So I'm ready for what he does next, regardless to what it is. I would like to see him do more of these characters, but he's shown me on several different occasions that he's an awesome storyteller and he understands what he's taking. He can take any IP. He took it. I mean, he can take any IP, keep the familiarity to it, but give it his thing to where it's not just a carbon copy. So I, as somebody who is a Snyder fan, not an extremist or any other that nonsense, but somebody who's moderate and thinks it should continue in some fashion or at the very least be resolved, I enjoyed this movie, and I think you guys should go see it. So, all right, that dude Vince, I want to do some edits for you. Do you mind if you send it to me? Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't respond to your other stuff, dude, because you sent some other things, but yeah, go ahead and send them. I'm like I said, by the way, guys, if you sent me, especially if you sent me by Twitter, I'm horrible with Twitter. Even though I've had Twitter longer than I've had any other social media, I don't use it like you guys use it. I only use it because it connects me to you guys. But I'm really bad, and especially Twitter made it harder because Twitter is not connected to Instagram like it was before, where I could get all my messages and send out and connect everything. I have to do it through a different app now. So I will get back to you. I'm not ignoring you. It's just a weird situation for me. But yeah, if you want to do edit stuff, Vince, go ahead. Also, keep in mind that this setup, I know I've been saying this for this setup is going away a little bit, or it's going to change drastically. I just have a decision-making process. I was playing around the other night to where I put everything over here and just set up a separate camera. And I didn't like the dynamics of the way it looked. It gave me a wider shot, but then I realized I didn't need a wider shot. I could get it. I'm going to move this. I think what we're going to do is move all this back. No longer go with the computer screen. Go with my two cameras that I have set up. Have one close from here zoomed in and have one right up on me so that I can have, you see the broad side, and then I can just put all my stuff here. But I want a front view of the table. So, and then I got different lights set up. So I think I'm going to do it in here. Take all this stuff down behind me, go all the way back to here, have my belt sitting just like this, and I have my big gold that it's going to sit so that you guys can see on the other side, and then have some pop figures and stuff in front of me and a much higher chair. I think that's going to go in. So I'm going to play around with that. But yeah, do edits after that, I guess, because right now you would just be editing my ghetto hood formation here. But yeah, I'm open to it, man. William, what Namor solo comic runs do you recommend, and what specific Doctor Doom solo comics do you recommend? I haven't read too many Doctor Doom ones. The recent one I did read, the most recent one I did, I think in 2020, 2021 is good. The Namor solo run, my favorite Namor solo run, even though it was where they first branded him in Mutant, was the John Byrne run that started in 1990. All right. You should live in the theater while watching Across the Spider-Verse. Do a live in the theater while watching Across. Um, I I can't. Well, you talk about live out of the theater. Yeah, that's what I plan to do. I plan to do it like right as I get out. I'm gonna do it right as I get out. I'm gonna have somebody holding the camera for me, and I'm gonna have a better. I get the USB mic so that it doesn't sound like shit. Yeah, but it's like a lot in the theater. Yeah, probably get thrown out. But I know what you mean. Now. How you doing, Ezeka? Jacob, what's going on? Hen Solo the Chicken. I love that name. I'm so glad I didn't get tickets for that flash screening 2 weeks ago at the Grove. Yeah, dodged a bullet when the people were not getting in towards the end. Yeah, and like I said, when I first heard they were turning people away, I thought they were turning VIPs away. They may have been, but almost everybody I know that got turned away was on a general admission list. So I know Vegas is a drive, but I can take care of you if you're in my state or in my adopted state. Doing William thought on Aldous Hodge says he wants to continue playing Hawkman in DCU. I ain't got the James Gunn yet, but we'll see. I mean, if they get back around to it, I'm ready. And that's a broad answer. That's pretty much like if it ever comes up again, who knows? We just don't know what James Gunn has planned for the Justice Society. I hope that's not the last we've seen of them. William, I'm excited to see the Flash, but I hope the hype of this movie doesn't get too much where I finally see the movie and hype overwhelms it and it's not as good as the hype. I had that concern too, and I It met my it exceeded my expectations because there's a lot about the hype about what people put out there in the trailers that's not in the movie. People say that they've given too much away in the trailer. No, they haven't. Once you see the movie, you'll understand all the context that the trailers are in. I think it meets the hype. All right, man. Yeah, I'll get with you. William, do you think that Shannon Sharp's partnership with Skip Bayless is coming to a conclusion too? I don't know. I've been hearing that for how long now? And they've gotten into some heated arguments on television to where it was like, wow, is this the last day I'm going to see these guys together? And then they're back together. Shannon Sharp's Skip Bayless says some stupid stuff, and Shannon Sharp is very volatile. So I'm surprised they've lasted as long as they did. I wouldn't be surprised if it came to an end, but I wouldn't be surprised if it lasted another 5 years, especially if they throw money at them because people love watching that conflict. Shannon Sharp last show reported after two. Yeah, that may be a contract thing too, so I don't know. William, I thought on Across the Spider Jack can earn $150 million in World's War. That would be absolutely phenomenal, given what the first one made. I would love to see this movie make a lot of money. The Miles Morales Spider-Man, the Into the Spider-Verse is the number one Spider-Man movie for me in regards to story and how I feel about those movies. I love that movie. It's that's number one. Spider-Man 2 is number 2. Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire is number 3. And No Way Home is number 4. And then it goes down from there. But yeah, 150 for that would be amazing. And I've heard from everybody who saw in the first one, they've been telling me if I like the first one and I love the first one, then I'm going to like this one. So I can't wait till Friday, man. William, as a Laker fan, if you had a choice, would you rather trade for Lillard or sign Kyrie in free agency if you could choose one? If I could, well, both of them are impossible right now. Lillard's contract is Portland probably wouldn't trade him in the division, but Lillard's contract is such that you would have to gut your team to get him, and you would only have Lillard and no one else. Same thing with Kyrie. Unless Kyrie takes a pay cut, it would be almost impossible to bring him on. If he's wanting $31 to $49 million, once again, you would have to trade away or not sign some of your best players that got you to the Western Conference Finals just to get him. Now, in a miracle world where salary cap isn't an issue, I would go for Damian Lillard because Damian Lillard is probably one of the most explosive offensive players, and he puts so much defensive pressure on you just because he's a volume scorer. And right now, I think that's what the Lakers need is a volume scorer. Now, Kyrie Irving can be a volume scorer, but he's more cerebral and he's more of a precision guy. So if I have my choice, I would want the nuclear bomb that Damian Lillard represents, because the fact that he requires so many people to deal with him, that guys like Anthony Davis, Rudy Hachimura, and LeBron James and others are going to have space on the floor to do what they need to do. So there you go. Oh, okay. William thought on Harrison Ford says the most common fan question he's asked is, who would win in the fight, Han Solo or Indiana Jones? That's hilarious. Han Solo would just shoot him. Let's see. Jay Sturber, do you think Shazam 2 would have been a bigger hit if WB had put the same energy as Behind the Flash, or was it? It was always DOA. It was always DOA. The reason why, like I said, I've always said this, the biggest obstacle that the Flash, Black Adam, not Flash, Shazam, Black Adam, and Shazam 2 had is that they were Shazam and Black Adam. It's easy to get behind the Flash because you have a number of recognizable IPs. You have a generational interpretations of Batman. You have Fossil Batman with Michael Keaton, who people love. You have Ben Affleck's Batman. So Batman alone makes you money. And then you have a recognizable. You don't have Superman, but that S, people see that S, they know what that means. And then you have those two aspects, and then that allows you to promote it as a major IP, because you also have the Flash. Even though people swear by the CW shows, even all 12 of people that watch them, I guess, the Flash is still going to be more recognizable IP than Shazam and Black Adam combined. So it was just easier for them to get behind this one in ways that they would not have been able to get behind Black Adam and Shazam. The Antigen performing this August in my hometown, North Corona, California, aka Norco, off the 15 freeway at Silver Lake. Ooh, wow, Danzig is still out there, huh? Thought of Iron Man. I had an animated Spider-Man one spinoff coming sooner than you expect. I wouldn't doubt it. They're doing great with their animation, so I expect to see more. Yeah, so is what's her face? Pascal. I mean, I don't know. Well, yeah, everything is going to be on hold due to the writer's strike. All right, William thought on Barbara Machietti disputes previous report. The blast was in danger of shutting down over. I believe her, and it's a shock to the internet fanboy culture that cannot believe that a producer of a movie is going to let business dictate what they do with a movie, and not people who are obsessed with Ezra Miller online. They probably have a better pulse on the general audience than the almighty brave YouTuber doing it from his keyboard. So no, doesn't not surprise me at all. Slipknot, do you think there will ever be a live action Spider-Man 2099? Yeah. I don't know when. It could be way down the line. I think a lot of what Sony might want to do right now is exploit their animated versions of these characters as much as they can. But I think eventually, somewhere down the line, depending on how they feel, if they want to do Spider-Man. I mean, I heard on another show tonight is that their agreement with Disney would be put in jeopardy if they made live action Spider-Man. I don't see any legal basis for that. As far as I know, they can do whatever the hell they want. It's they own the rights to the theatrical versions of the character. So it may be awkward, but and I think that they would probably work with them. But it all depends, because it looks like to me with Madam Web and all this other stuff, they're building a universe to put a Spider-Man in. So somebody's going to have to deal with it sooner or later. But yeah, I eventually think they will be there. Well, I thought on live action Miles Morales movie in the works, according to Amy Pascal. Yeah, that was a broad statement. I don't know when that's going to happen. That could be years down the line. Remember, she tends to put stuff out there that's confusing laden and not necessarily a lie, but it's not necessarily near to happening as she might intend. So who knows? My only wish is that it not happen in the MCU as the MCU is currently constructed. The MCU right now, at period, the last 5-6 years, is I call it the Marvel clutter universe, because it's cluttered right now. And that is the way they tell stories, and that's fine. But for characters like Spider-Man, who I think rise and fall are individual strengths, for the purposes of the story, because you're going to make money either way. Nobody's going to be able to tell. No live-action Spider-Man movie has made less than $700 million. And we're talking about the ones that were years ago that if you adjusted the dollars, they would probably be near $1 billion themselves. And so no Sony Spider-Man movie has live action has made less than $700 million. So people thinking that Sony needs Disney in order to make money, that's not true. That's just an outright lie. But I think there's a different situation in 2013-14 that, the timing was right for what they were doing with Peter Parker and MCU just after Amazing Spider-Man 2. That is not the same situation that is in with Miles Morales. They've done the work. They've done the work to build up the notoriety in this character in a motion picture, albeit animation, but in a multimedia environment. They've done the work with the games. They've done the work with the movies. These two movies. One of them is an Academy Award winner. I don't think everybody's brainwashed because, like I said, fanboy logic that Sony needs Disney to make a Spider-Man movie. The best movies, yeah, you could say Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, but you would be a moron if you dismissed one of the best superhero sequels of all time, which is Spider-Man 2 and the original Spider-Man and the best overall Spider-Man movie out there, which is Into the Spider-Verse. Those are all Sony movies that don't have much to do or anything to do with Disney. So my only hope is that, like I said, they keep him solitarily away from the clutter and the cluster that is and will become the Marvel Universe here in the next couple of years. Secret Wars, Skrull Invasion, all these things are happening. And I just don't see. It's like a salad. Everybody thinks it's a good idea to open up your refrigerator and throw everything into that salad because you can. But some of the ingredients you throw in there don't mix with each other. And when you take a bite of that salad, it ends up tasting like shit because you didn't pay attention to what you put into it. That's how I feel MCU is right now. A lot of stuff just doesn't work, and I think it drags down the product. And now you have a character whose biggest strength is his solitary existence alongside his dependency on spider-type characters that are within his universe. That's where his two strengths are. I don't think there's anything that could be added to him by that. I just think it could be watered down. So if they are going to do a live-action Miles Morales movie, I hope they keep it there, and can keep control of the story and keep control of the narrative. Between Across the Spider-Verse and The Flash, seems like the multiverse is the big theme this summer's comic book movies. Hope that catches on with the doors. Like I said, I hope somebody's just looking at the math. If these two movies do well, then like I said, it's retail. When something does well, you do more of that something. As simple as that. Live action Batman Beyond, Spider-Man 2029. No. Now, the difference between Batman and Spider-Man is they've done the work over the past 12, 13 years of establishing Miles Morales as a Spider-Man. Batman's been around 80 years. And it's always been Bruce Wayne. And they've never really created a lengthy interpretation of him that was actually successful. Batman Beyond was what, 3 seasons, if that much? I think it was canceled this 3rd season. You're talking about a lot more success with what Miles Morales with his movies, his comics, and So I don't listen. When it comes to Batman Beyond, I think if there was money in Batman Beyond, it would be done already. It would if there was money, but I just think that a Batman that's not Bruce Wayne, I just don't think people will go for it. And I think the studio would break his heart. Yeah, but you know what? The Blazers have had Damian Lillard for quite some time, and they've had opportunities to put things around him. Is it going to break? It's going to break his heart to see the guy retire without a ring. One of the great guards of all time. So I don't know, man. I understand, but yeah. With John Carpenter directed thing maybe happening. I hope so. I really hope so. Yep, he went to Berkeley. Did he go to Berkeley? No, I can't remember. But yeah, I would love to see the thing done by him. In this lifetime, because I like the remake, and I've always wanted to see something that directly came from the two, Keith David and Keith, what's his face is Kurt Russell's character sitting there drinking whiskey. I want to see what happens after that. William, I have friends that live in California and always talk about the Inland Empire, but they don't really explain what is a former Cal resident. Can you explain? It's Inland Empire, San Bernardino County. The Inland Empire is the 909, which is the area code. It is the part of the greater Los Angeles area. San Bernardino, Rialto, Colton, Fontana. All those is Inland Empire. So if you're from that area, a lot of people who work in California, like my dad, would make the drive. It's about a 45-minute drive most days, depending on who you in traffic. If you're coming to east, you can pretty much get going. But yeah, the Inland Empire is, and the reason why it's called the Inland Empire because it is literally inland. In comparison to California, it is literally inland. You have to drive. You have to drive into the desert to get to where my old stomping ground where I was raised. Um, so yeah, and IE, the gangsters started calling IE, throwing up gang signs. But before that, yeah, it's San Bernardino County. Some people consider Riverside County Inland Empire. I don't. I mean, some people do, but yeah, San Bernardino, Rialto, Fontana, those general areas are the Inland Empire. I saw that in the movies, and I thought it was a weird movie. I just thought it was a weird movie. I didn't. I did. It left. That was his last movie, by the way. That was the last movie that he did before he passed away in '99. Um, I don't know. I just the premise of the movie was kind of weird for me. But Stanley Kubrick's movies in general are weird for me. So there you go. William thought on Andy Muschietti said he honored Zack Snyder in The Flash and would love for Zack to watch the Flash movie. He did, and I think Zack has seen it, but he did. That is 100% true. He did a great job with these characters, and if there was ever any more of these characters to see, and Zack couldn't do it, Andy Muschietti, in my opinion, and I know it might piss some people off. I don't know. I don't care. Andy Muschietti would be the perfect caretaker if we ever get one more second of these characters. Well, what grounded superheroes specifically do you think could work in the Batman universe or a fantastical superhero that you think will make more grounded? Superhero? There's not a lot of them that don't already exist in his universe. Like Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, Catwoman, Antihero. They've already got them in there. Um, a fantastical superhero that I think can make more grounded. See, they're also the ones that are so fantastical, or they're like a big, jump from what he is to what they are. You could take any of them and just tone down what they are. So you could take Green Lantern instead of having him do these big constructs. You have him do, much smaller things. I mean, obviously Superman, you couldn't do it. Aquaman, I mean, no. The Flash, no. Martian Manhunter, by virtue of the fact that he changes shape, he could blend in with that universe. So yeah, those would be the one. It would be tough though. Antimaza Inland Empire, AKIE, is a county area that is 45 to 55 minutes away from Los Angeles, 35 minutes from Orange County. There you go. What he said. William Thought and Sasha K. speaking about Supergirl. I think there's so much anger that she has that there's a lot of time to process. It's an emotion. Yeah, she does. And that's the kicker of this movie. I left wanting to see more of that Supergirl. I think it would be an absolute tragedy if we didn't get to see some. She's great in the role. She's great in the role, and she left me my curiosity peaked and how she got to where she was, even though all that kind of changes. But she does a great job in that role. I would love to see her in that role again. How you doing, Tim Anderson? Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves, are you? Oh, are you thinking with a Matt Reeves universe? Yeah, my answer would still be the same though. I think Matt Reeves can do it. I want to see him do Mr. Freeze. How you doing, Larry? What's going on, man? William Thought on Terrifier 3? No. There's enough stuff out in this universe that destroys my brain. I'm still trying. I'm still going to therapy for Terrifier 2. Ugh, my goodness. You guys, man. You got. And I'm a horror guy, and that movie disturbs the hell out of me, man. Will release in late 2024. Filming will begin later this year, and the budget increase of the low mid to. Yeah, I heard the budget went up significantly, but you know what? It's all going to be on gore effects. I bet you. Ugh. That sounds about right. The animation styles that they've used in this, it looks to me from the trailers, are a major upgrade from the original one. But $100 million, even for animation, is still good enough because you can still make a lot of your profit back on that one. I think this movie's going to clear it easily. Oh yeah, dude, it's a fun ride, man. And you guys that are seeing this, Once I know that you guys have seen the Flash, enough of you, then we'll do our spoiler review. But right now, it's really hard to talk about it because I could slip up, and I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody. William, if Marvel decides to do a standalone Namor movie, do you think they would actually decide to do it on Fox so that they can get away from having R-rated? Nah, because I don't think you would need to do an R-rated Namor movie. You could do considerable amount of violence and stuff, or war and fighting and stuff that would involve it without being R. I don't think they would do it on Fox, but I think if they did do it, they would be connecting them to their core universe. So no, I don't think they would do an R-rated movie. B, I don't think they need to, and I think they would want to bring them in to blend in with their Fantastic Fours, their X-Men, and their Avengers. With the potential of more Keaton Batman post-Flash, what do you think would be the best Fast Forward other than Batman Beyond? Okay, not Batman Beyond, but I don't know. I want to say at his age, The Dark Knight Returns, or just another Batman story set in his current timeline. Him having to come to grips with depending on what world he would end up in, having to come to grips with his style of crime fighting, him getting older. I mean, a lot of anything that at that age Batman would be basically compared to Dark Knight Returns. So you could do a Dark Knight Returns if Ben Affleck were to turn it down, but you could do, dude. I think a Dark Knight Returns with Keaton would be big bucks because a lot of people still love the false Batman, and he would be in his element because he would be an older Batman, playing a Batman that has been retired for 10 years. I think the Keaton nostalgia thing would be the only way to make that work. And even still, it would be called Batman Beyond, but it would still be the Batman you're tuning in to see would be him. But once again, Batman Beyond, he's not Batman anymore. And do I want to see Keaton not as Batman? Honestly, I don't know, man. There's a reason why Batman Beyond hasn't happened yet, guys. Forget what I'm saying about it. We've had plenty of time to do Batman Beyond. I think if they were going to do it, they would have done it. Now James Gunn is crazy, so he may do it, but I think even the reasons that kept everybody else away from doing it might butt up against his. Who knows? William, what are your thoughts on the Blazers fans signing a massive petition around 100,000 signatures for the team to trade Lillard? I haven't heard about that. They would get a lot for him. They would get enough for Lillard to where they would be able to build their team. See, as long as they have Lillard and his salary on the books, and they don't have a lot of players, and Portland's not a free agent place for people to go see, it's going to be hard for them to get better with Lillard. And that's the sad part, is he's going to basically rot there. Because you can't, cap-wise, fit good players around him, and then good players aren't going to come to that market. By the way, there's no way Blade is getting delayed again with the WD strike. Oh, yeah. Everything's getting delayed. We're at 9.4 now. Changed from 9.0. Okay, now I thought the 951 and stuff was in the Irvine area. There's no more 909? Oh, wow. William thought on Sydney Sweeney's confirmed to play Julie Carpenter in Madam Web movie. Yeah, I heard that a while back. This Madam Web movie is see, you can make fun of the whole Morbius post-credit scene and all the stuff that they may or may not be doing. I think that the jury's out for me. I'm waiting to see what they do, because given if you know Madam Web's the nature of her powers, a lot of the stuff that doesn't make sense now could be made to make sense once they get that going. So the jury's out for me on that one. So I'm looking forward to that movie. Thought on the Flash post-credit scenes are a great surprise. They won't disappoint. You know what? They did disappoint with the movie. They lived up to everything that they said the movie was, so I believe them. Good on Sydney Sweeney. She's talented, massively talented. Yeah, I agree. She was in Euphoria. By the way, man, wow, Euphoria. Ugh, dude. I gotta wash my brain out watching that show, and it's depressing. Ugh. William thought on Andy Muschietti says they will not recast Ezra Miller for a potential sequel to Flash. I don't think there's anyone that can play that role. once again, I don't even know if there's ever going to be a sequel to The Flash. I'm going to let the box office answer that question. But guess what? I've been saying that forever. Fanboys and trolls on the internet obsessed with Ezra Miller's whatever do not outweigh money. And let's say The Flash makes, let's throw it out there, it may not make $1 billion, but let's just say it makes $1 billion. You will have heard from the only people that matter, the people who paid to see him. No one else matters. Not a YouTuber with 300,000 followers, 1 million followers, not a bunch of internet trolls, not a bunch of people saying they're going to protest it on their Twitter headspace. None of those people matter. If The Flash makes that kind of money, the only people that the studio, the director, and the producer should be listening to is those people. The only people that matter will have spoken. All right, this is a business. So, yeah, that's not a surprise to me. I've been consistent with that. You know, math is undefeated. I'm going to put that in the scroll down below and just let it roll. Math is undefeated. It doesn't lose to YouTubers. It doesn't lose to Twitter heads. It doesn't lose to pundits. It doesn't lose to trolls. All right? Math is never going to – math has been winning since before we knew what math was. It's not going to pick up its first losses to any of the groups I just said. If The Flash makes good money, that is going to influence business decision-making the way it should. That's the way capitalism and free market works. When something does well, you do more of that something because that's how you keep your lights on. That's how you keep your doors open. No surprise there. Yeah, man. Listen. Ugh. One scene in particular on Terrifier. I'm just going to leave it out there and don't bring it up in the chat because this is still Ash's network. I don't want to defile his network with this. There's a saw involved and a woman involved. Something about it was just wrong to me, and I've seen things get hacked up and hacked. Nothing really should faze me, right? There are kills in Terrifier, both of them, that are just like, wow, ugh. Yeah, Spoon. Half these kids, they don't even know what the tick is, man. We're showing our age. William Thornton Robert Englund says he's done playing for the crew. Well, he's like 80. Even though he's under heavy makeup, I mean, I think he's gotten all the mileage he needs to out of that character. And I need to see Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers retired for about 25, 30 years. No more remakes. He said I'm too old. Yeah, that's it. I can't fight scenes anymore. I can't take one anymore. I've got a bad neck, bad back arthritis. Yeah, he's getting old. Spoon, there you go. Hey, Larry knows. I'm surprised anybody else besides me and Clint knew who the hell that was. No more Keaton after Flash. He's a nice tease, but he's a coin. He really is. He's great in this movie, though. He's great in the Flash, and I, like I said, retail will speak. If people connect with Fossil Batman, you will get more Fossil Batman. That's just how it works, man. It would pretty much be the same as it is now, them screaming at each other. But like I said, they're very volatile. Skip Bayless says some really, really crazy stuff. And he does it to get people going. He does it. I mean, there are people out there on all platforms that know what they're doing when they do it. And he pushes Shannon Sharp's button, but Shannon Sharp's there to have his button pushed, so no. San Bernardino, dude, 90 was a heat wave for us. It gets 100 every now and then, and it is the other side of the Mojave Desert. But nah, we weren't rolling with 110s and 117s. I mean, we got 100 every now and then. And yeah, it is hot, but nowhere near this hell we're about to endure. I wish. Oh, yeah, no. Well, I'm a Heat fan, so me this whole playoff run for my team has been playing with house money because the media didn't expect us to make it. Yeah, and absolutely no one expects the Heat to win. I'm not doubting out Stephen Butler, Jimmy Butler, and Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra is an underrated, excellent coach with 2 rings, and he's played for 3 more. This is his 6th NBA Finals. He knows the game. They've beaten the best teams, in basketball to get here. And I don't think that the rest is going to really mean as much because the Heat are in rhythm. I think once they got back into rhythm is where they're the best at it. There's nobody expects them to win. They're going to be able to go in there and play loose. Listen. If I were to bet, the only way you're going to make any money is to bet on the Heat anyway. So you might as well throw a little bit of money in, but don't take my advice. But like I said, if the Lakers would have began the season with the team that they ended up getting to the Western Conference Finals with, we're not talking about Denver in the finals. We're not even talking about Denver in the Western Conference Finals because the seeding would have been switched up. I don't think they're number one. I think if the Lakers start, given the rate of games that they won and the pace that they were on when they assembled this team, they only had 26 games together before the playoffs started. I think the Lakers finished with one of the best records in the league and possibly the top seed in the conference. And then you're better because you've been playing together. You've gone through a training camp together. You've gone through the season together. You've made your adjustments together. They had to get all that done in 26 games. And your two stars are going for surgery. People forget that Anthony Davis has a spur in his foot that needs to be repaired. And LeBron's most likely going to have off-season surgery. So those guys, your big horses, were playing in those kind of conditions with a bunch of brand new guys. So, and of course, your coach, who, like I said, had to coach two different teams: the one he inherited with Westbrook, and then the one he got on the trade deadline. But if all things are equal, the Nuggets aren't even there. Then it's a rematch of the 2020 final. Sony needs a main Spider-Man in their villain universe, and frankly, writer strike aside, I'm surprised they haven't already gotten more with Toby and Andrew going. Me too, but like I said, I've heard people say theories that they didn't want to interfere with what Disney was doing, but I'm like, why? You own the character. Why you give a shit about what Disney's doing? They have Tom Holland. That's their Spider-Man. You own the IP, and you're not going to do anything with them just because what they're doing. That's like not even being robbed. That's just taking your money out of your pocket and leaving it on the street corner. That's just dumb. So I'm wondering, do you think Miami wins the NBA championship, rather rides off in the sunset, or do he continues being the president and makes a big trade for Lillard or Bradley Beal? Now, if he wins the title, he's not going to need those guys. You're not going to shake up a team that just won the title. And I think Riley's going to stay until his 80s because his job is really easy at this point. Euphoria Season 2 is some of the most beautiful shot television ever. Andy Muschietti could use their cinematographer. Yeah, just not the content. Ugh. It's like, man. It's like, you know what? Watching Euphoria, listen. I'm not saying go out and watch this movie because it's a really, 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 really trippy movie. Requiem for a Dream. That's how I feel when I watch Euphoria. Icky. Well, these outlets that cover movies say in order for The Flash to recoup its production budget and marketing campaign budget, they're going to have to make $1 billion. Is that an exaggeration? Let's see. It's just part one. All right. So The Flash's budget, I think it's $250. And I know they didn't spend a lot of money on posters and T-shirts this year. What they did, though, is they spent money on screenings, because I talked to a guy today, who usually sends us our posters and stuff. He says there's not going to be much beyond like the little posters and stuff. And if there's anything that he'll send it to me, but he said they spent the budget on the screenings because they are so competent in this movie. They want to send people out into the atmosphere talking about this movie. And they thought that money was better spent on screenings. And you know what? I'm getting messages from the people that we sent tonight. We sent a lot of people tonight, more than we sent on last week, and we have them lined up for more. They all love it. They're all going to see it again, so they got a free movie, and they're going to go back and pay to see it. So let's see what the budget was. I think it's in the 250 million range, maybe. Okay, so no, wow. Okay, so. All right, so the budget was between 220 million. That's the production budget. So since they're not doing like merchandising and things like that, add another maybe 100 million. So let's say 350 million. To cover the production budget and what they get back, I would say 750 to 800 million. because that puts you $500 million clear of your budget, and then percentages and all that start to break down. A billion definitely does it. I don't think you need necessarily a billion, because, like I said, 220 million. Yeah, I think 750 to 800 million. I think that gives you 500 million clearing that budget. I think that's where you need to be. But a billion definitely does it. A billion changes the whole conversation. Violent Night is on streaming now. Yeah, man. Oh, Violent Night. Like I said, I was with Clint when we went to sleep Violent Night, and there's a scene in there that involves a nail that just had me. And I don't jump much because, like I said, I've been on this planet long enough and seen so much horror stuff. If you get me to jump, you did some good shit. And there's a scene in there. I mean, Violent Night is as violent as hell. People die in all manners. It was like watching a Tom and Jerry, if Tom and Jerry were live action. That's how that movie was. And it once the violence starts in Violent Night, it doesn't stop. It stays going till the last kill, and the last kill is cool, by the way. But yeah, there was some. I jumped out of my reclined seat violence in that movie. So yeah, I don't know if I want to watch that again on streaming. Man, that movie was tough. But Jackie Earle Haley is a better Freddy anyway. Terrible remake, but his Freddy was serious business. His Freddy was serious business, but unfortunately, there was a Robert Englund. If you would have never seen a Robert Englund Freddy, then you would have never had anything to compare to, because that's the character he's playing. But Jackie Earle Haley's character plays what Freddie Mercury. Holy cow! Did I almost say that? What Freddy Krueger, based on the description of what he is, should have been. Not some guy joking. We're cracking and laughing and laughing with Freddy Krueger. This guy's a child killer, possibly child molester. We're laughing and joking with him. Haley's character portrayal was more along the lines of somebody I could believe harmed kids. So there you go. Do you think people will be yearning for more Batman? Yeah. I think people will be yearning for everybody in this movie, post-blast, especially Sasha Calle. I mean, it's just not. It's like crack, man. They gave you enough. They gave you a sample. Now I'm addicted. I want more. How you doing, Aaron? None. Unfortunately, I grew up in the city of Los Angeles at a time where both of the owners were the worst owners in sports, and they were trying to screw the city I live in to get better deals, and they spent my entire childhood trying to get out of LA, and that was the Rams and the Raiders. They spent my entire, and they both left the same year. So I pretty much grew up without a football team, so I just played fantasy football. William, I know you're LA Kings fan, but who would you rather see win the Stanley Cup, the Panthers or the Golden Knights? I don't have a big interest in either team, and most of us old school hockey fans don't ever root for a Pacific Division team because of the history of the division. But if I had to root for anybody, held a gun to my head, it would be the Golden Knights, because Alec Martinez, who got traded, he didn't leave the Kings on his own, has meant so much to the Kings' 2 Stanley Cup runs. He literally scored the winning goal in their last cup. And in the previous round in the conference final, he scored the goal that got rid of Chicago Blackhawks. So he's like on a Mount Rushmore with me as far as Kings goes. And Jonathan Quick, who I thought should have retired a King. I've always wanted to see those two gentlemen get their 3rd rings, and I think Rob Blake has not done what was needed to build a cup-winning team around them. And we started out when Rob Blake got here with like 6 or 7 guys on a team that had won multiple cups with us, and they either got traded away or they went away via free agency. And some of those guys went on to get cups in other places and go to finals in other places, make deep runs. And so every time I look at Jonathan Quick and Alec Martinez, I see 2 huge mistakes that Rob Blake made, and maybe seeing those guys hoist their 3rd cup that should have been hoisted with us will put pressure on him to either do better or pressure on the organization to get rid of him. One thing has to happen. We'll just get like a little girl watching by. Yeah, that one scene major, but the rest of it was, like I said, the violence was like, wow, it's a fucking Christmas movie. It's like the best Christmas movie ever made, but holy cow. Yeah, that movie was tight. William, what is your most underrated, massive budget horror movie that nobody talks about anymore? For me, it's Final Destination. Uh, big budget horror that nobody talks about anymore. I gotta think about that one. That's not one I can give you outright. I have to think about that one because there's a lot of them out there. So, all right, guys, we're at 52 minutes. That is generally the length of a Midnight Express. I hope I've answered enough of your questions to keep you going until I see you on Friday night. I was going to do a Star Trek Weekly, but we're gonna go with a couple fans to go see Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse, and we'll do a stream. I'll do a stream later on that evening, giving you guys my thoughts and opinions about it. The Star Trek Weekly Show will return next week in preparation for Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. And we'll do our overnighter as well. So you'll get your feel of me, and I'm working on my wrestling show too. So there's a lot coming up. So, all right, guys, and that's it. I don't see any more questions, so that's cool. Let's get my beautiful outro together. I want everybody to be singing along and to create lyrics to my outros, and then like tape yourself or record yourself doing it and send it to me. So here it is.